Let's do x is greater than 3 and x is less than or equal to 0. Okay. X is greater than 3 and less than or equal to 0. So if I was going to graph it, I'd start at 3 going this way, wouldn't I? And if I was going to graph this part, I'd put a dot at 0 and go this way, wouldn't I? And I'm looking for the what? Because of and, the word and. I'm looking for the overlap. Is there any overlap?
No.
At all? No. So, there actually will be no graph, would there? There are no numbers, and if you think about that, it kind of makes sense. Is there any numbers at all that are greater than 3 and less than 0? How would you have a number that, you know, the only numbers that are less than or equal to 0 are negative numbers, and there's no negative numbers greater than 3, is there? So, on this one, it would just be what's called the empty set, meaning there's no solution. Okay, now let's get back to a couple of useful that makes sense. I want you to get used to the fact on or, they normally go different directions, and on and, it's normally in between. Okay? So, here's one we haven't done yet. Negative 3 is less than x is less than or equal to 4. All this is another way of writing and. Okay?
You got one more than this.
Huh?
No, we have
over.
Are you out of room?
Well, no, we had more on the back page.
Okay. Negative 3 is less than x is less than or equal to 4. That means that x is between negative 3 and 4, but could it equal negative 3?
No.
So I can put a circle at negative 3. Could it equal 4?
Yes.
And then be everywhere in between. You understand why that's an and one? This statement right here is the same thing as negative 3 is less than x, and x is less than or equal to 4. It's the same thing. Okay?
So that would be negative 3 to positive 4? Is that negative 3?
From negative 3 to positive 4, yeah. So when I write the interval notation, it looks like this. A parenthesis with the negative 3, because it doesn't equal negative 3. But on the positive 4,
Never bracket.
put a bracket, because it's equal to that. Okay, I can think of one more that might be a little crazy, so let me let's do the one more crazy. Let's do x is less than 4, or x is less than or equal to 2. It's less than 4 or less than or equal to 2. If you go to graph this one, I would start at 4 to a circle, right? And we're going which direction? If x is on the small part, left. And on this one, I'm going to start at 2, circle or dot.
No.
And which way is it going? X is on the small part, it's left. So they're both going left. The word is or. So I'm looking for the union. I want to put the two graphs together. So would it just be the overlap? Would it only be where they overlap, or would it be everywhere the two graphs cover?
Everywhere the 2 go.
Everywhere the two graphs cover. So from 2 this way, and from negative 4 this way. So where totally do they cover?
Anywhere from 4
From 4
down.
down, right? And if I write the solution out in interval notation, it would be from negative infinity to 4. But not including 4. Huh? And that kind of makes sense, because when you say less than 4, aren't you taking care of the less than or equal to 2 part? Yeah. Now, we could have done the same thing. We could have said and right there. And if we had said and, we would have only been looking for where the 2 overlap. Where do those two graphs overlap?
2.
At 2 and less, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it would have just been a dot at 2 and going this way. So if it had been and, it would have just been this part. Because it's or, it turns out to be this part, doesn't it? That doesn't happen very often. Very, very rare. Okay? Yeah, I just thought I'd show it to you. Okay, let's do the examples.
Do we have to recognize this?
Yeah, we'll have to test down. Okay.
They can do just translate.
Decide if it's and or. This one is and. So we know it's going to be a intersection. Step 2, we're going to solve both inequalities. So I'm going to subtract 2 on both sides here. Now I've got this one finished. Then I do this one here. So, I know it's got to be x is greater than or equal to -4, or, and, not or, x is less than 2. So we've solved the inequalities, now we're going to graph, and we're going with and. We're only graphing the overlap. -4, circle or dot? Going which way?
Right.
At 2, circle or dot?
Circle.
Going left. So the overlap would be right here between, wouldn't it? Usually if you're going to have overlap, that's usually where it happens, is in between. Because usually one is going one way, one is going the other. Okay? Any questions on that one?
Would the interval notation be -4 too?
The interval notation would be from -4 to 2. Oh, a bracket on the -4, right?
And the first one.
Yep. Okay. That's a good question.
You have to put these on all of them, just roll them.
Yeah.
So if we need to know, put them.
Did you have enough room? I'll let you enough room, didn't I?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, next one. Yeah, good. Sign out. I decide is it and or, and it is and or, so it's an intersection. I've solved both of them, and so we're going on here. This is the same one.
No, it's just the beginning of someone.
This is the same one.
No, it's not. It has, the last one, it just had a greater than sign. It was 5x minus 1 greater than. Not this
same one.
Bring the
greater
nail to step.
It's basically the same one, but not really.
All right.
You said it.
Greater than or equal to 2, and this one says greater than or equal to -4.
No, the signs are different. I'm talking about the last one. Yeah. You said it.
Oh, and, not or. I don't know why I'm saying or. Okay, so now we're going to graph it, and I'm going to graph the overlap. Okay? -4 is right here. It'd be a dot going this way, right? The reason why I didn't put it down the graph yet is because I want to figure out where they overlap first. This might be a little complicated.
Is that or or and?
All right, it's and. It was and up here, so it's still and. This one is a dot. And it says x is on the large side, so x is greater. It's going this way. Where will the 2 overlap?
From -4 to +2.
No.
From -4
No.
to
Look, this one here is not even going toward -4. It's going this way.
From 2 to
So the place they'll overlap is from right here over.
So -4 and higher.
No.
2 and higher.
2 and higher.
Yeah. And a bracket on the 2, right? 2 to infinity. We always use a parenthesis on infinity because you can't actually reach infinity. All right, question on that one? We've graphed both up above just so we can get an idea of where that's going. But the actual overlap is from here over, because this one would continue over. Okay.